So today I'm gonna demonstrate on how to make the right proportion for fashion illustration. So basically we have to make the guidelines according to the movement of the body part based on the picture. So here I always start with the central line first from the head, and then after that the shoulder part, and afterwards I try to draw the underwear just roughly to get the idea where the waistline for the movement part, and also after that the knee length, and then at the end will be the ankle part. So basically if you have these lines, this will help us to draw exactly like the sample given and to get the right proportion. So you just have to copy it on your paper to save time, and the outcome will be need to be smaller than the original picture, because the original picture sometimes seems too bulky for a fashion illustration, so sometimes we have to slim her down. And then after you copy the dots, you just have to connect the exact same lines, and then you can start to draw and measure it with your eyes. So in my opinion, these steps making guidelines is always helping me to get the right proportion. I think this is one of the easiest way on how to draw properly in a very quick and simple way. However, there are so many ways on how to do this, but this is just my preference to make a guideline to make everything more precise. And then after that I start to draw the inside part of the body, because here we're not gonna draw the clothes yet. We just want to get the right proportion and draw the body without a clothes. And then after we're done with the guidelines, we start to draw on our own paper. So we try to measure it the same way, but still to keep it slim. So sometimes it's not exactly the same size and it's not exactly on the same line, but basically the lines will just help us to get the right movement and angle. To me, the crucial part is the underwear part, which is the middle line. It's really helping us to get the right silhouette and the right angle, because when you made a mistake here, it will change the whole look, it will change the whole angle. So please make sure that you do it right on the hip or the underwear area, because if you do, most likely you will succeed to finish the whole illustration, at least the overall proportion or angle. And also remember, every time you draw, please do check on your reference once in a while, because if you have your reference with you, you can always check if the length is enough, if for example the gap between the leg is already fit in, also where the hand's supposed to sit in, and maybe how big the head is. So basically keep the reference with you all the time, so you can always check if you made a mistake or not. So here in our first draft, we don't really have to be super neat or super clean on this one, because basically we have to transfer it again to another paper. So we have to trace this drawing. And so on the second draft, we have to be very neat and clean, so no more hairy lines, and we can add all the details there. So for example, the face details, the hand, like the muscle part, all the lines has to be very neat and clean, because the detail we are in doing our illustration, the more easier when we have to color them with Copic, because it's gonna be easy for us to know where the shading will be and also where the light's supposed to be. So basically if your drawing is too plain without the details, it's gonna be very difficult for us to put where the shading is or to put where the lines on the skins. And then for the face composition, it's always easier if you always check on the reference, because the face doesn't have to be like really the same just like the photograph, but at least you have to get the right composition or proportion. So basically by keep checking on the reference will help us do the drawing properly, and obviously will avoid us to make a lot of mistakes. Also, another tip, if you want to check your illustration, sometimes we have to stand further away from your drawing, and then we can see if the drawing distorted or not, or sometimes we tend to make the feet bigger than the head. So just bear in mind that the closer we are to our drawing, sometimes the harder for us to check if the drawing is correct or not. So now we're moving on the second pose. Basically we do the same. We have to make the central line, then we start to add the shoulder lines, the waist or the hip area, and also the knee and the ankle. And as I have mentioned before, remember that you have to add the underwear part, because that way it's easy for us to check where the movement is. And then because of the angle of this pose is quite different, and the silhouette of the underwear looks slightly different as well. And after this, we have to make the exact same line to the paper that we have, and then we can start to draw them again just like before. And after we draw the whole lines on the paper, we can start with the head. So we try to follow the sample. The head is looking at the side slightly, like 3/4, and then we can continue with the collarbone and the shoulder part, and then the boobs, and make sure that you connect with the waist and the underwear, and then we can continue with the leg and the feet. So if you can see the details, the boobs is slightly different because of the angle. And remember that the left side of the boobs is like really close to the arms, while the other side has a little peak of the underarms area. And again, we just do it roughly here, as long as we get the right angle and proportion. And later we have to trace this again, but now we have to focus on the proportion of the body and then the movement. But basically, as long as you observe the lines, movement and angle precisely, it will make you easier to draw them, to portray them just exactly like the picture. So on this page, you can leave the finger of the feet for now. Later you can go back to it, to the detail, when you finally trace them. Right now we just have to get rough detail, because by doing that, later when we trace the paper again, it will be easier for us to just follow and then draw them neatly without thinking too much. And now we're coming back to the face detail. So it's a bit tricky on this one, because it's looking like 3/4 side, and then the lips is even slightly distorted because of the angle. So you just have to practice and follow the picture, and make sure that you don't press the paper with your pencil, so when you made a mistake it will be easy to erase them and fix them. And then also on the hairlines, make sure that you follow the angle based on the photo. You follow where the hair fall is, and also the style of the hair bun and the style of the hair. So basically just try to be as precise as the picture sample.